What's up, family? Once again, it's time for TSC Unleashed. That's right, we in the building, man. What's going on with the fam, man? Good to see y'all in the chat as well. In this episode of TSC Unleashed, we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs, the fact that Chris Paul is in the building. He forced the Game 7 with the Houston Rockets. We're going to break down the playoffs as well. And also, we're going to kind of pontificate on where terrific and exciting power back Leonard Fournette will go. We'll talk about that all today on this episode of TSC Unleashed. So, without further ado, I bring in my co-host, Uncle Mozzie. Are you in the building, sir? How you doing today?
Hey, but is the question, are you gonna let me, are you gonna unleash me? Are you gonna put me, see, that's the thing. You're always trying to silence me. But the voices will be heard sooner or later. That's all I'm gonna say on it.
All right. Well, listen, on TSC Unleashed, that's what we all about, man. We hitting these topics, we hit them hard. And no doubt about it, Uncle Mozzie, you can feel free to have your impact or whatever you're going to do in this topic. But let's get into some NBA news. The NBA playoffs well underway. We got a couple of matchups that occurred yesterday in which we had some surprises. I mean, two surprises, Uncle Mozzie, to be honest with you. We kind of looked at the Houston Rockets Thunder series, thought the Houston Rockets would finally push them out of that being that Russell Williams against the Rockets. That's just awesome, man. And it was crazy about it is the Rockets are very small. I mean, this guy, the head coach of the Rockets, is playing at PJ Tucker's like 6'5" or something. No players are taller than Covington, like 6'7", and that's crazy, man. That you got smallish guys like that running around in the post. And Rockets actually think that kind of brand of ball would get them far in the playoffs. It got them 44 wins on the season, but the Thunder have forced them into a Game 7. Chris Paul, man, he led the effort. 28 points from Chris Paul, had 7 rebounds, 3 assists in the matchup. The crazy part about it, man, 40 minutes for Chris Paul, 10 of 20 from the field, 3 of 6 from downtown, 5 of 5 from the free throw line. Alinari in the matchup, shooting 9 of 17 from the field, 4 of 9 from downtown in 28 minutes for him. 12 off the bench from Dennis Schroeder, who chunked in 13 from Dort, 10 from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And it just, Chris Paul, man, you got to put it all on him. He was the one that willed this team to a win. Eric Gordon, for the Rockets, really struggled, man. He kind of stunk in this one, but James Harden, 32 points, 17 pedestrian points from your boy, Russell Westbrook, 18 from Covington in the matchup, 12 off the bench from Daniil House Jr. Mozzie, what do you think about this, man? Chris Paul wills the Thunder to a Game 7 final matchup. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, we talked on it yesterday. I think that the Rockets should have taken these people seriously from the jump. I think they had them. I also think that OKC's best shot was to catch them while Westbrook was down, but apparently that's not it. Apparently that's woken a sleeping giant, especially in Chris Paul, a sleeping little giant, because he's been going, he's just upped his game to a whole nother level, especially last night. Now the question is, can he eke that same kind of gameplay out one more time to kind of close this series out? That'll really shuffle some stuff up, because Houston was one of the glorified teams going into the season that was touted to be a contender in the midst of the Clippers, the Lakers, Denver, Utah. Houston was right there, probably the third best in that, or expected to be the third best, behind only the Lakers and the Clippers in the West. So, I mean, we talked on it yesterday. I said, man, listen, if they don't take care of business and allow these people to linger around, anything can happen when you just kind of narrow it down to one game. And that's what they've done. They've, in essence, narrowed their chances down to one game. So everybody's got to be firing on all cylinders. If they could get past this round, I think that Westbrook will play his way back into shape. I think that the team itself will rebound and come around. I think everybody will gel and start learning how to play together. It's just I don't know if I would have brought Westbrook back in the lineup, especially having already beaten these people. I think they had them 3-1 at one time, or 3-2, or I knew 3-2 for sure, but I think it was 3-1 at one time. So, I don't know necessarily if I would have brought Westbrook back into the lineup. Maybe I would have practiced it more in between. Maybe brought him back for game 1. But decisive games, closeout games, 6s and 7s and 5s. No, I'm not bringing him back in. I'm gonna let him just hang on the bench where he's been hanging at, and we'll figure it out next series and close it out. When the matchups, obviously, we see it's a matchup issue that they're having, as well as a willpower and coaching issue. So we'll just kind of kick back till the next round and see if we can regroup or revamp. But I'm gonna go with the lineup that I've been winning with. I'm not gonna alter anything, and I think that's one of the problems that they're facing right now.
Yeah, I mean, the concepts of what Houston Rockets are playing for remind me of Elvin Gentry, how he always likes to go small ball, and he wants shooters all over the floor. And I think that's the reason why, the Houston Rockets coach can't advance in the playoffs. You can't win with that goofy NBA streets ass type mentality. You got to be able to have a balanced game plan. This guy has Tyson Chandler on his team. I mean, Tyson Chandler has to be able. You got to unleash Tyson Chandler so he can be able to play in the paint and block shots and not let Chris Paul get to the cup like he was getting. And then, I mean, he was guarded pretty well, and he was step back 3-pointers. I mean, he was catching it and feeling it. Now, I'm not expecting him to have that type of play in Game 7, but let me tell you something. Chris Paul is motivated. This was a team that got rid of him, that traded him up to the purgatory known as Oklahoma City. They sent him, banished him away to Oklahoma City, and then basically got Russell Westbrook in exchange, and everybody then said OKC wasn't going to be anything. He's back for revenge, and he's playing with that revenge mindset against these Rockets. He's motivated. He's on the court. He's totally 100% healthy. He's on the court getting these young guys together. And like I said, he was the main reason why this team won the force of Game 7. And let me tell you something, anything can happen in Game 7s, anything. So if Chris Paul brings it next game along with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Gallinari, they can be really something. Now, Steven Adams, he has 6 points and 14 rebounds in this game. He only gave him 6 points, but listen, that won't happen next time. And some of these bench guys as well. Schroeder had a minuscule 12, but he will up his production. So, and like I keep telling you about really good coaches, I think Billy Donovan is a better coach than what's the coach for the Rockets? I forget his name. Of the white version of Elvin Gentry. I think that's a part of that is
great value Rick Adelman.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reality, man. Is that I just think Donovan's more of a complete coach. His team playing with a lot of heart. The Rockets had an opportunity to eliminate these guys, and you keep letting them, keeping them alive. It's going to be a difficult matchup in Game 7. So Chris Paul, man, he's motivated to take down Harden. And what a really interesting matchup will be in Game 7. What if OKC knocks the Rockets out? Could you not understand the impact of them winning 44 games and falling out of the playoffs in the first round? Most certainly, the Houston Rockets coach is on the hot seat right now, and he has to get his team to the next level.
I think, absolutely. I think that'll be the biggest upset since I remember, like maybe 2012, 2011, 2012. Memphis Grizzlies, the 8-seeded Grizzlies upset. Right. Tim Duncan and his San Antonio Spurs in the first round. I think this will be equally as big an upset, but it will come in well deserved, because maybe James Harden, if he could stay out of Lil Baby videos and stay out of Atlanta and stay out of the clubs, just like my good friend Alvin Kamara, then maybe we can win some games. That's how it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting. When do you get to a part of it when you stop looking to Harden to be the leader of the team? What I mean, obviously, I know he can dish the ball. I mean, in this matchup, he had 32 points. He's most certainly not at fault for why they lost this matchup. I mean, he did have 5 turnovers in the game, but he had 32 points. He has 8 rebounds and 7 assists. He almost has like Eric Gordon, who I keep saying there are jokes. Eric Gordon is a flipping joke. He was a joke when we had him down here. He's a joke up there. He was 3 of 12 from the field and 1 of 6 from downtown for a ridiculous 9 points. 9 points in 35 minutes for a starting. He played 35 minutes next to Harden and produced 9 points. Had he stepped his game up, they could have actually beat OKC. Had Russell Westbrook, who was traded for Chris Paul, who Chris Paul totally outplayed, had 7 points and 7 turnovers. So I mean, these guys, not so much on Harden, but I mean, sooner or later, you thought that Russell Westbrook would be the piece to propel the Rockets where they need to be. But obviously, they're going to have to get that together, and we'll see. So I'm expecting a ferocious attack in Westbrook in this next matchup with a shooting Harden, and we'll see how OKC handle it. But this is a Game 7. Anything can happen. Let's move on to our next matchup. Anything. So, let's go into the next matchup here on Kamazi. We got the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks. A lot of people thought that this would be an interesting series. The Miami Heat are literally playing stress-free, freedom, liberation style basketball. They're not wearing anything. They're throwing it out to a win. Bam Adebayo is terrific. Jimmy Butler's bringing this tough team into it, and they are looking really good. Goran Dragic is another key to the whole deal in this matchup. Jimmy Butler had 40 points in the matchup, 40 points on 36 minutes, 13 of 20 from the field, 2 of 2 from downtown. Mozzie, he was 12 of 13 from the free throw line, missing just one shot. He did all that with a meager 3 turnovers. He had 40 points, and then his co-buddy, Goran Dragic, 34 minutes, 27 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, 9 of 15 from the field, 2 of 5 from downtown, 7 of 7 from the free throw line, 27 points. Bam Adebayo, 12 points, and 17 rebounds in the matchup. In 38 minutes, Bam Adebayo continues to be a wildebeest in the paint. Tyler Hero off the bench once again chunked in 11 to help unseat the Bucks, 115 to 104. Giannis, the Greek freak, 18 points in 37 minutes. Uncle Mozzie, what is going on here? 18 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, 37 minutes, 6 of 12 from the field, 2 of 5. Giannis, man, a meager, ridiculous 18 points in this matchup. Middleton stepped up, had the big game, 28 points in the matchup, 12 of 24 from the field, 4 of 8 from downtown in 37 minutes, 24 from Lopez. Brook Lopez stepped up in the matchup and gave him 24 with 1 rebound, so he was really engaged on scoring. And of course, Hill, 7 from George Hill. Wes Matthews struggled a bit, 11 off the bench from your boy, Kyle Korver. Wasn't enough. Had the Greek freaks showed up and played, Mozzie, they would have won this game. He didn't. He gave him a stinking 18 points. They go down in the first matchup, 115-104. What's your thoughts?
Well, this is where I earned my Swami turban at right here, because if we could play the tape back, because that's the evidence that we play the tape back from yesterday. Told y'all yesterday on this show that I felt the Miami Heat, just from a talent perspective, they could take 2 games in this series. I also told you that yesterday's game was a classic setup of Milwaukee having the big controversy around them. They led the boycott. Giannis has been real antsy lately. He's started to become more and more westernized as the years go on. So, Milwaukee is just not the scene that he wants. I mean, he's just not where he's not happy there. That locker room is in shambles. He's team leader sometimes he's not. They had a lot of cons to this team going into the season, definitely going into the bubble. I told y'all yesterday, Miami is already playing with the house's money, because that team was assembled simply to have an NBA franchise. That's it. They weren't looking for anything like really major out of this team. Just to get to the playoffs, I think was like a big accomplishment going into the season. Now, being up 1-0 in the second round of the playoffs, you definitely playing with house money. And like I told you, Jimmy Butler was going to be the X factor. I told you he had a lot to prove. He was never a real big fit, a good fit anywhere. I told you that Coach Poe, one of my favorite coaches, is known for being able to take really talented people that has really big egos and kind of make them work and bring the best out of them. And here we are again. Jimmy came through, dropped 40 buckets. Jimmy Buckets had 40 of them last night. And hey, man, I don't understand what's going on in Milwaukee, but there's definitely something going on. They just don't look the same as they did when the season first started. The bubble Bucks, or Baba get their bubble burst. And yeah, bubble Bucks might get their bubble burst. And I think that, given, like I told you, I already had Miami stealing 2 games out this series just off talent. Last night, I don't have Jimmy Butler scoring 40 points and going that bananas from the three-point line ever again in his career. He's never done it before. So that was one of the one-time type out of his body type games that I didn't include in the Miami that I know to play team ball like it went off talent alone. So that was the oddity game. I still have them pegged for winning 2 games from a talent perspective. So right now, in my eyesight, this team is down. This team, the Miami Heat team, is up 3-0 against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, this is amazing, man. I mean, to be honest with you, the Bucks are definitely reeling, man, from several different issues, in my opinion. Giannis, man, he's being challenged, man. He really is, and I can see the fact that he's really being challenged on a level where he probably didn't think he would before. I don't know how he is or what his thought process is on a lot of the social stuff that's going on, but I haven't heard too much from him. Maybe you have heard some things. I haven't heard too much from him. Maybe he just likes he's not comfortable addressing that light. But, you know, he's taking a backseat to players that he's severely better than them. If he's got to be a superstar, he got to step up and guide them through whatever turmoil that they're going through. So we'll see. He cannot produce, whether off the court or not. On the court, off the court, that's another matter. On the court, he has to be able to give them more than 18 points. If he score his usual north of 25 points or what have you, they win. They beat the Heat. But he can't have these type of games, and it's a shame because Middleton actually brung it, Lopez actually brung it, and they've been missing. They've gotten better over the Orlando matchup when they played together, but Middleton at first was struggling a bit. But when you see Middleton and Giannis on the same page, this team is difficult to beat. So we'll watch and see. Right now, the Heat was able, and I agree with you, Spoelstra, the Miami Heat are well coached, and people not respecting Spoelstra's mind. But Coach Bud is pretty good. This is going to be a really excellent coaching matchup. Let's go into the previews for Tuesday night coming up, 4:30 Central Time. Celtics, Raptors. This is one of your series. You talked about the Celtics being a dark horse team in the East. Listen, they're head-to-head against the Raptors, the defending world champions. The Celtics can vanquish the Raptors and take this series. Now, they did beat them in the first game. This is the second game. Mozzie, I'm asking you pick this team. Who wins the second matchup? Because if the Celtics beat the Raptors, they can take control of the series early.
Well, I like the Celtics in 6. So I think that the Celtics will go up tonight. I think we'll have a pushback, a last-minute pushback from Toronto. Well, they'll come out, they'll win one, we'll win the next one, go up 3-1, and then they'll win one, and we'll close it out 6. And we'll take it 4-2. That's my prediction. And you heard it here first, like you hear everything from the Swami. So I do like the Celtics.
I didn't know
tonight.
Chris Berman was here.
The Celtics is an unbelievable team, man. They're probably they are the new age San Antonio Spurs. Nobody's a certified superstar. Everybody's within the parameters of what they're asked to do. They are an upgraded version of the San Antonio Spurs, and that's why they don't get a lot of love, except from Senor Maserati, because I already told y'all going into the bubble before all this started. I already told y'all what I felt and where I was at on the Celtics, and here they are. They already wiped the floor with one team, and they got the brooms back out, and it wouldn't shock me. Now, I know to a lot of people that their whole jaw would drop. It wouldn't shock me. I'd be like, damn, but it wouldn't shock me if they swept Toronto. That would probably give them enough confidence, in my opinion, to just ride the rest of the wave and go all the way to the finals. To me, if they were to sweep the defending champion in Toronto Raptors, even without Kawhi, I think that Toronto especially has been a thorn in their side for like 3 or 4 consecutive seasons, and like this is the time to blow them out the water, eliminate them, get them out the way, and like just move on. But it wouldn't shock me at all. I told you I love Boston. I picked Boston as my dark horse team, as I picked LA and Denver to represent in the finals. I stand by all my picks because I am a Swami. It's what I do. I do this for bread and meat. If I don't win, then I don't eat. So that's what it is with me. I love the Celtics tonight. As a matter of fact, anybody in the fam, I'm willing to give up. I'll lay 7 with the Celtics tonight. That's how good I'm feeling about them. I'm giving up 7, and I got whatever y'all want put on it. I'm giving up 7 though. That's where I am with it.
The Celtics. I appreciate your drive and excitement about the Celtics. Celtics are well coach team. They're playing really well together. Jason Tatum is special. Brown is there. Even Marcus Smart stepping up. Kemba Walker is balling. So they are a very solid team, man. They can run, they can shoot, they play defense. They're very well coached. This is an exciting team. The Raptors, however, they don't have the same superstar mentality as well. They're a bunch of role players playing above their abilities, playing well together. Siakam really developed into an all-star this year, averaging about 23 points a game. So obviously the Raptors are a difficult assignment. I won't be surprised if the Celtics take care of business with the Raptors in this one, although I'm looking for the Raptors to even the series off. I anticipate this series being maybe a 6 or 7 game series because these two teams will give us a really exciting series. So I'll be very surprised if the Celtics sweep the Raptors. I would not see that. I think they're too well coached and they have too much pride and determination to allow themselves to be swept out of there. I'm anticipating this will be a 7-game series between the Celtics and the Raptors. Ultimately, I think the Celtics should be able to push past the Raptors and into the Eastern Conference Finals. Next matchup, 7:30 tonight in the primetime spot. Jazz and Nuggets. This is Mozzie's bread and bread and meat pick he was talking about that he don't eat off. Well, he picked the
I don't eat.
The Denver Chicken McNuggets here is obviously the team that Mozzie likes, and he wants them to take care of the Jazz. And listen, Murray he's looking spectacular. He had that 50-point game in Game 6 to help push the Jazz into a Game 7 confrontation. Now, of course, you're going to pick Denver. But, the Jazz, man, Quinn Snyder to me might have some tricks up his sleeve for the Denver Nuggets. Although I do respect the hell out of Malone, the coach of the Nuggets, how he used Jokic to pull the big man, Rudy Gobert, away from the paint. I expect more of that. But can Quinn Snyder make the adjustments necessary to adjust to Malone's Jokic move? But that only works if Jokic can knock down the deep shot. Mozzie, what you think of Game 7 here?
Oh, you already know, man. I'm loving my Denver Nuggets over the Utah R&B tonight, man, for sure. I think they'll handle business. I think we finally figured out how to beat the R&B. We get Rudy Gobert from out under the basket, clogging up everything. So that we could penetrate and just get all our points in the bucket. Like it was like a Soul Train line. Like everybody was going through there once we got Rudy Gobert from under the paint. You got a 7'2" monster with a 9-foot wingspan, and Murray is driven by going into the paint. He's not this dynamic 3-point shooter. He can shoot the three. He has a decent mid-range shot, but I mean he likes to take it to the cup. He's high flying. He does 180s in the air and all this other foolishness, and that's just what he likes to do. So when you got a big 7'2", 9-foot forever wingspan dude sitting up under there, that makes that kind of hard, and we need those 15 to 20 points that he's capable of putting up. Meanwhile, we have a big that can do it either way. I think the first couple games they were just being kind of stubborn and wanting to stick with their game plan, and that's why Donovan Mitchell and the Utah R&B was able to pull off a couple of games that they did pull off. But I mean, like, let's make no mistake, it was only because Rudy Gobert just hauled the paint, just refused to move. It was like a wall standing there. We couldn't get the offense going either into the big and out for penetration off a kickback like we had been doing all season, or just straight penetration off the dribble, playing the one-on-one basketball like Murray loves to do. I think that once the R&B got in position and put this big 9-foot forever dude in the middle, it made things kind of sticky. So we had to adjust. Thankfully for us, we do have a big that can shoot the three. We do have a big that can put the ball on the floor, take you 12 feet out from the basket, and that leaves the rim unprotected. And once that, the old adage say that, once the cat's out of town, the mice get down. And that's kind of what we have been doing for the last couple games. I think we'll finish off the R&B and send him back to Utah tonight.
Well, that's a lot to say there, Quinn Snyder. I mean, it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to this one here. I like the duel between Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray, and it's a matter of which one of these guys will bring their team with them to help them win. So Rudy Gobert is definitely going to have to be called upon to show up. Joe Ingles has have to step his game up. Conley's been playing really well. He will have to continue to do it, and of course, Nikola Jokic has been really special and serious along with Jamal Murray. And we'll see which team comes to play tonight, but I'm expecting a really good matchup. And remember, anything can happen in these Game 7 series, to keep it real with you, anything. All right, let's move on to our final subject of the show, Mozzie. We're going to be talking football. Of course, yesterday we knew that Leonard Fournette was released by the Jacksonville Sad Wars, because the Sad Wars are a pathetic, trash team, a bottom-feeding team. I used to have this same thought process about the Cleveland Browns, but the Jaguars are really college-level funny. I think they have certain. I think Clemson can beat Jacksonville. That's how pathetic they are. No disrespect to the Clemson club, but Fournette was released for nothing. They tried to trade him, couldn't get anything for him, so they just released him. He's on the waiver wire. He clears today at 4 Eastern time, and we'll decide, and we'll know who gets the claim. There are several teams up. We hearing talking about Tampa Bay, Chicago, New England. Mozzie, you've been following these develops with Leonard Fournette. You familiar with him? You familiar with his family? Who do you think, and where do you think Leonard Fournette lands once the waiver wire claim is found out?
I mean, you're not gonna want to hear this, man, but I think that given his family ties, given the fact that they're poised to win, given all of those things into consideration, he loves his home. He's always here. We've had frequent sightings up in malls and different spots. I do not believe New Orleans is off the table. I know we're not going to clear the waivers. I get that. But just like I told you with this impending story developing with Ben Simmons coming down to New Orleans, I think that we have enough pieces we can kind of move around and shift around to bring him in. I think that with Alvin Kamara holding out and playing this game of pity pat, or this game of chicken that he's playing with his new fancy little agent, I think this would be a wake-up call. And even if we got to retain Alvin Kamara, man, a monster like that with Drew Brees under center, and you got Mike Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, man, I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. So all I'm looking for is who he goes to, which at this point I'm thinking, I'm hoping anyway, is Pittsburgh, because I think that Pittsburgh would be more willing to bargain. But everything in me is saying that New England is going to somehow figure out a way to snake him over there, and because that's just what they do, and continue to run their division and run their house and get some help over there for Cam Newton and kind of revamp and redevelop their franchise and pump some life back into them. So everything in me is telling me some kind of foolishness and boobery is going to take place, allowing that to happen. But I see every possible scenario, given the talent pool that we have, the draft picks that we have, we are poised, more than poised, to make a solid run at whoever were to pick him up off the waivers. Will we do it? I don't know. I think it would be an awesome fit. I think he'd go for it. I think his family would go for it. I don't see a scenario where this would be a bad move on anybody's part, with the exception of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Same thing I told you about the Ben Simmons trade that's kind of impending and in the works, coming over to the Pelicans. I mean, I think all of it is wonderful, and I'm willing to accept all of it. But listen, no, you will allow me to spread my news and plug my news. You will not censor me or shut me down, bro. Like,
listen, Miles, I ain't trying. Listen, bro. After I say this, go ahead and go for it. But let me say this. Number one, did you just say ba-da-ba-ba-ba? Did you just use the McDonald's thing to accentuate your
definitely
point? Okay, and number two is
I definitely did
about the Ben Simmons thing. That is not on the table. Cut it out. That is not on the table. That is mere hyperbole, and you know it. Go ahead, my brother. I'm just messing with you.
I don't think it's hyperbole, man. Listen. Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's been 2 or 3 different trade talks in the works with us getting him. I definitely see a scenario where the 76ers move past him. Why? Because he's a shotless point guard, which means he's going to directly conflict with your big man whom you drafted to kind of build around and lead your franchise into the future. So now we have the Shaq-Kobe paradox. Do I want to keep the guard or do I want to keep the big man? Well, unlike with Shaq and Kobe, you had an age difference that kind of swayed your decision one way. But like with this one, it's totally different because given the circumstances, you can easily just get rid of him, get a couple of pieces in, and just make a move and go that way. So that's my thoughts on that one.
Okay, well, I mean, I hear what you're saying on that. The Jaguars are projected to have $83 million freed up in the 2021 season as they trash for Trevor. Obviously, that's the game plan. Several players have opted out the college football season, including a phenomenal LSU wide receiver, Jamar Chase, that happened the other day. He's opted out of the season, and he will go until the draft the next year. Trevor Lawrence is a pick that Jacksonville are looking at. They would love to have him, and that's why they're getting rid of all their base players to line themselves up for this position. As far as the Leonard Fournette, I don't see Leonard Fournette in the Saints uniform, even though I would love to see it. Like I told you about that local product that came from the region, and then he went to LSU, balled out, and then he went to the pros, and then ultimately found his way to New Orleans. That would be like that Dalton Hilliard type deal. But I think that he will only be frustrated by Sean Payton not running the ball, because if you get this kid, you're going to have to run the ball. But listen, I would rather have him with us than against us. And there are rumors circulating around about the Bucks. There's the Bears, there's the Patriots and stuff like that. So we'll know after 4:00 Eastern time where Leonard Fournette goes, and if anybody put in claims for him. Perhaps people didn't put in any claims. We won't know that for certain. But I just throw around that Janoris Jackrabbit Jenkins scenario when nobody put a claim in them except for the Saints, and the Saints got him for a claim. They have to give up any picks or nothing, and they got a starting level productive cornerback for the foreseeable future, for the next 2-3 years into the future. So really interesting, man, to see how that shake. And then address your news item, your news report on Ben Simmons. I'm leery of, even though I like the Ben Simmons idea, I'm leery of making a move like that until the team has gotten its coach, because you don't want to construct a team, have them here already, and then say, okay, here's my team, here, you coach them. You want to have the head coach in the process and say, listen, this is my scheme, this is what I want to do, this is what type of players I want. I can use this guy and this guy right here, I can build around these guys, but I'm gonna need this guy to make it all work. And I think that's a major part of it. So we'll see how that shakes on that end. And like I said, I wouldn't make any trade moves until after I got myself a coach. I'm just keeping it real with you. What you think about that, Bob? Are you still with us, Mozzie? Okay, I think Mozzie has dropped out. But anyway, that'll do it for the show today, family. I'd like to thank y'all for joining us for TSC Unleashed. Big ups to the family members in the live stream. Who that to you? Thank y'all for joining us. As well as we will return tomorrow with more NBA, NFL, and sport news at our 1:00 marker. Every day, remember, 1:00 every day will be TSC Unleashed Monday through Fridays at 1:00 on this channel. So please share the links. Please hit the like button. Please hit the notification bell and share the links on your social media. Also, side note, for people that want to join the TSC Fantasy League, it's underway. There's certain spots. There is a certain amount of spots available. First come, first serve basis. The winner of the fantasy league gets $100. No runner-up money this year, but $100 for the winner of the fantasy league. If you're interested and you're a fantasy champ, the link is in the description section below. Hit the link up. Sign up for fantasy football, the TSC style. So we appreciate y'all for joining us on today's show. Big ups to GM Kev. Tragic 504, JT, and the rest of the family. Let me read some of these chats before I go. JT says, hey Q, they want touch Fournette because New Orleans will know everything the Saints do. Okay, I thank you for that, JT. Appreciate you. Tragic says Saints better get him if he clears. I don't think he clears. Tragic. Appreciate the comment. Thank you, Kevin. And Ben Simmons is in the chat, obviously. Yeah. And Ben Simmons says, hey, what's your favorite franchise? Of course, it's the Pelicans as well. He says, do you know how immediately? I'm currently in my second NBA season and still didn't find my team. First of all, let me tell you something. Ben Simmons.
That's not me, by the way. That's not me. I don't know who that is. It's not me, though. I swear it's not me. I swear it's not me. I don't know who did that, but that's not me.
Well, I mean,
I should have did it though, but it's not me.
But I'm saying that's
good though. That might be Ben. That might be Ben.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. I thought that was you to try to accentuate your point, to try to build more around this Swami persona that you want people to buy into. That's why I thought was like, that's Ben Simmons. That's obviously Mozzie, a sock puppet for Mozzie, and he's trying to accentuate Mozzie points. But to answer Ben Simmons' question, there are rumors situating around the trade for Ben Simmons. I just don't know if you would make that move without a coach. I think David Griffin is screwing up. I mean, the first screw up is he kept Elvin Gentry when he should have cleared them out. Bottom line. Now you got to find a coach. I would not make any moves until you get the coach first. Get your coach first. Find out what kind of scheme he can run, and then make the moves after you get your coach. Any other thing, you setting the coach up for failure. Don't do it to him bringing and trading guys without a coach.
How could you set him up? Are you serious?
I'm saying
how could you possibly?
Five. You can't. First of all,
that's impossible.
Listen. Trading for, first of all, it's not established fact that Philly's willing to get up. They're on a record for saying that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are not on the trade block. Okay, that's their official stance. They're not. Now, I can't validate rumors underneath and whether or not they mean what they mean, but their official stance is that Simmons and Embiid are off the table. That is their stance. They're not going to get rid of those guys. And they're not going to trade those guys until they find a coach. And who's at the top of the coach's search they will get Tyronn Lue as their coach. They're going after Tyronn Lue, and Tyronn Lue will not allow them to trade Ben Simmons. I'm sorry to tell you that. He coming in there to coach Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid.
You're not telling the whole story though. But you're also leaving out the fact that we have also been in conversations with Tyronn Lue as it pertains to him coming out to the Pels. So like we're gonna enlighten the family. We got to tell them about the rumors, the closed door rumors that happened between Griffin and Ty Lue in the bubble.
But that's exactly where it stopped, behind the closed door, because when the Pelicans told him that the most we're gonna offer you per season is $5.5 million. That situation stopped instantaneously, because he wants north of $7 million and north. That's what he wants. So if that's the case, that the Pelicans are shy monetarily speaking. They only want to pay 5.5 for the next head coach. Tyronn Lue is out of their price range. The Philadelphia 76ers will give them
that Ben Simmons. With Ben Simmons, Zion,
Philadelphia is high on Tyronn Lue. If you go and do your research on Tyronn Lue and the Sixers, Tyronn Lue wants to be the Philadelphia 76ers coach, and the Sixers want him. It's no way that he gets there and they trade Ben Simmons. No, absolutely no way. They'll build a scheme around Simmons and Embiid. And like I told you, Philadelphia said that Embiid and Simmons are off the table. Everybody else is on the trade block, including Al Horford, including Tobias Harris, and everybody else. So once they get their coach,
nobody's going to buy them contracts. Who's going to buy a $28 million Al Horford contract?
Well, stop. I mean, I hear you, but I'm saying that still in all, they're still on the trade block. As ridiculous as that sounds, everybody's on the trade block except for Simmons and Embiid. Just telling you, okay? 5.5 million is the top. That is the ceiling for whatever the Pelicans are offering for their next head coach. So I would not, if in Philadelphia, that's why I'm saying they're not going to trade him. Tyronn Lue will get the job in Philly, and he will run that a situation where you have Joel Embiid. He'll play shooters around him and build that Philadelphia 76ers team up. But their top guy is Tyronn Lue, and we can't afford him according to his own monetary demand. So I hope I enlightened you on that, Swami. And hopefully, I don't know if you knew that, but you probably did. But you like building your point, even though you knew that, and you hoping that possibly I didn't know that, so that I would then not tell the people who probably know that as well, that they know that he is not on the table.
But listen, here's the thing though. A $5.5 million offer without Ben Simmons is totally different than a $5.5 million offer with Ben Simmons. The keys to the Western Conference and possibly an NBA title guaranteed if you put those three guys at your core and bring in Ty Lue to coach that. That would be unbelievable, and it's a possibility. And we have got to keep hope alive, bro. Like, what are you doing? We got to keep hope alive. And there is a chance that we can get Ben Simmons for a couple of our players. And I think that I definitely think that we need to go for it. I think we need to offload everybody we can offload, with the exception whatever took place between Embiid and the officials, from what we're unofficially hearing, whatever happened between him and upper level management, he's not happy in Philly. So Philly has a decision to make. Are they going to bring in the pieces that make Embiid happy? Or are they going to try to keep building pieces and getting coaches and doing things to please both Embiid and Ben Simmons? That's the question Philly has to answer.
Well, I can answer that question for you right now. They're going to bring in the pieces that appease both Simmons and Embiid. They see the future, the process. See, the process is a complete and utter failure if Simmons and Embiid are not a part of the future of the team. Because no members of the process that they were talking about when they were basically marketing, selling, losing to the franchise, and Philly woke up about that. Philly woke up and said this process is a bunch of nonsense. All of the picks that they made, really only 2 or 3 of the picks actually panned out. It was a big old scam that Philadelphia was running on its teams to justify subpar basketball for many years. Simmons is the real deal. He is progressing. He improved his long distance shot. And remember last year as well, he hit his first 3-point shot. So he's been working on that part of his game. Embiid has been terrific as well. So both of these guys are young all-stars. And you'd be hard-pressed for Philly that understands that once they get Tyronn Lue will make them competitive again. He'll make them free-flowing basketball. He can relate to them better than what Brett Brown did for the several seasons that he was there. Despite the fact that the man won 43, they have the money to pay him, they'll pay him, and they will not trade Embiid or Simmons. Now, as far as anything's possible, you're absolutely right. Anything can go. Those young pieces could demand to be moved out of there. They very well could force them their way out, but I think Tyronn Lue becomes the glue to keep them in place, excites the fan base as well as the upper management as they move forward into the future with them. So I will keep hope alive. Thank you for that, Jesse. But the reality is, at the end of the day, is that we must now find our own coach here at the Philadelphia with the Pelicans and move forward. As BI also was named the most improved player of the year, beating out Bam Adebayo and Luka Doncic. So how about that? Most improved player is Brandon Ingram. So, I mean, this guy, remember last year, this guy was facing blood clot issues that basically just sidelined his year that year. Uncertainty with the Lakers, and he held it all in stride. After the trade, he came here, became an all-star. He's an all-star and a real key component to this team, and I'm excited, not so much about Ben Simmons and Embiid, but about Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. In the several games that I've seen them play off each other, listen, let me tell you something. The next coach come in, hopefully it's the right coach to work with these two guys and get them going. Hopefully it's Mark Jackson. Hopefully it's a experienced coach who's a former player, who has that side that's still young enough to be able to teach the game, communicate the game well, and have something working with them in terms of just not only experience, but a balanced game plan and a control of the team, a disciplinarian who also knows how to loosen up at times. So hopefully we get a Mark Jackson, Kenny Atkinson, whose other teams are looking at as well, to pull down. Chicago's looking at Kenny Atkinson because he's a good coach. So there's several other really interesting options out there. So we'll just have to see. Who knows, Maz? You could be right. You said Judah Swami. We'll find out moving into the season. Any final thoughts on the show before we leave? All right, I guess Mozzie dipped out again. So listen, family, thank y'all for joining us on TSC Unleashed today. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you aren't a subscriber. Please share the show links in your social media as well. We'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And remember, TSC Unleashed is Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock on this channel. So share the links on your social media, hit the like button. And if you're interested, I'm going to say it again. If you're interested in joining the Sports Coma Fantasy League, there are spots remaining. It's first come, first serve. 20-team fantasy league. If you're a fantasy guy and you like talking your stuff, you need to sign up before spots are gone. Once they're gone, they're gone. It's over with. So they got spots still open right now. Please sign up. The link is in the chat. So from me and Mozzie, thank y'all for joining us on TSC Unleashed. We'll be back tomorrow with more NFL, more NBA news and notes. Peace to you.